Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all. Meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. Yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again. So sweet again. Above it all, beat all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again.
Good morning. Welcome to the show. God, I'm an idiot. I'm so live stream retarded. Welcome to the show. Great to see you guys. Good morning. Note I'm saying mooring. Good morning. That's the thing we're going to say now. Good morning. You have sound now, right? No, I bet you do. I bet you do. I bet you these are all things that are saying no sound is actually just a little bit behind. I bet you in a second everyone's going to be like, oh, there you go. There you are. There you are. There you are. There you are. See? Yep. That's because I'm retarded, and you guys need to prune my lips. Sometimes you need to have my lips even make sound, right? That's how much pruning you have to do. Special shout out to the last person who pruned me, which was Sam. I think that was Sam. Just this morning, I was writing a tweet, a fascinating topic that I cannot wait to discuss with you guys later. When I say later, I mean once I do a little bit more looking around. But yeah, Sam Bolton, thank you for the prune. And the fact that you thought you were going crazy is proof that you do not have enough confidence in yourself. I don't know diddly. Although I did meet a guy who met Diddley once, and they they went back. Diddley has a past. He sure does. Diddley has a past. Diddley has done a lot. He did a lot of things before. Doodley. Diddley actually became a doodler at one point. Diddley was a doodler. It worked out really well. But then his career went Dudley, and it kind of ended from that point. It didn't really end. It sort of dwindled. So he doodled as much as he could until he dwindled, and then he went dud, and it was then he died. This is a terrible story. I should fix that. You know when you made it? Check it out, guys. Check it out. Check it out. I've made it. Check it out. Miss Kyle, on the door of her classroom, has told her students, I am reading Blueprints of Mind Control again from James True. Ask me about this book. And I freaking love Miss Kyle for this. I seriously mean I've arrived. When you have this level of resonance, something great is happening, and I freaking love it. In fact, I am trying to imagine little Billy asking Miss Kyle about chapter 37 and Hillary Clinton's descent into Voodoo and her experience at the kitchen sink. But this is why Miss Kyle is a dawn treader. She is cutting through with a bravery that has never been seen. I've never seen anything this brave, and I freaking love it. I love it. Hello, Hummingbird. Your feeder is in the dishwasher, and it is done, but I have not boiled your water, so it is coming. It is coming. Until the meantime, we've left some rodent food here. And I broke up if you're wondering why I smashed the peanut, whoops.
Let's go to work.
If you're wondering why I smashed the peanut, it's because the nuthatch and there's titmouse. That's it. I knew it was something vulgar. The titmouse really likes the peanuts, but he cannot grab them when they're that big. So, Miss Kyle, hats off to you. I cannot wait to hear what little Billy thinks of Blueprints of Mind Control. You know, Blueprints of Mind Control, even though it definitely has some content in there that's interesting, I think that it would be perfect for kids to showcase the blueprints part because it's so simple. The reason why I wrote that book, and I really think everyone should buy that book. I really think everyone should buy that book. I think that's a staple. I really do, because it's showing you why they gelded your ego. It's showing you why you geld your ego. And it's showing you how, because you've been conditioned your whole life, how there's a 3-step process that pervades every single avenue of life and grabs hold of you. Not once will you find the words MK Ultra in Blueprints of Mind Control. In fact, when I met Tracy Twyman under the tutelage of Jim and SB, I noticed how completely different we had been approaching this thing. I do not, in my book, Blueprints of Mind Control, I do not use any CIA sources at all. None. In fact, Michael Aquino's book, Mind War, in my opinion, which I did not use for this book because this was not a book about CIA mind control programs. No. Because those are away from you. Speak of the devil. Those are away from you. The CIA programs you hear about, the MK Ultra programs you hear about, the Clockwork Orange you hear about, those programs are not in your daily life. No, your daily life is much more in your face. The mind control in your daily life is what that book's about. That book is here to show you what's right in front of you. In fact, it shows you not only what's right in front of you, it literally shows you what's already in your head. And once it doesn't even go into your specifics. because it can't. I don't know your story. Instead, it shows you the scaffolding. It shows you the blueprint. It's always the same blueprint. And in fact, if I would have to write that book now, I wouldn't change a thing except for I would add the words germ theory into it. I would add a chapter on germ theory. Now, there is actually a chapter on placebo effects, so I think technically I covered that. But to truly look at germ theory itself, germ theory, it has the same blueprint. It's the exact same blueprint. All right, so what's the blueprint? It's 3 steps. Step 1, you are broken. That's the step. I'm not telling you you're broken. I think you're wonderful. I think you're fabulous. I wouldn't change a frickin' thing. I think you're real. And as we covered yesterday, real is so much more colossal than good. None of you are good. That's right. None of you are good. Watch yesterday's stream. None of you are evil. None of you are good or evil. You are real, which means you are a factory for morality. You're a morality production machine. And you're either going to fail at that task or you're going to do it well. And it's going to be a spectrum between the two. It's not a dichotomy. You do not get to measure your morality based off what a cult of people who surround you call moral. That's called moral absolutism. If you were to say, well, James, what is the beef with you and Owen Benjamin? It is that. Owen is a moral absolutist, which means he believes that the most amount of people around him who also say that morality is that makes morality. And they call that logos. But that's opinion. That's zeitgeist opinion. And you can say, no, that's not true, but it is, because truth is only known through your direct experience. And this idea of logos is truly a Platonism. It's the idea that outside of who you are, outside of your reality, is a Platonic hypothetical shell. Is placing you in what's called a sandbox. In programming, it's called a sandbox. And nothing can escape the sandbox. All we can do is try and mimic what's inside. And you will not find morality through regurgitation. You will not find morality through mimicry. Those are not morality. Morality must be generated from inside you. When Miss Kyle teaches her class, she knows that if she can get a student to repeat a word that she says, chrysanthemum, and little Billy says chrysanthemum, she knows that she has not taught that child yet. She knows that what's going to happen is that child's going to have a certain period where it can forget consciously. Because Miss Kyle wants to know, is little Billy's salt, has it been infused with chrysanthemum yet? And so Miss Kyle waits. She waits like a predator in the trees. And she pounces on little Billy with a quiz. She asks him, little Billy, what is a chrysanthemum? And now little Billy has to recall from his salt. His neocortex has forgotten the short-term memory. It's no longer something that's in his field. All right? When we say words out loud and we're inside of a setting, we're placing words in our field. It's true. We think that a chalkboard is simply a chalkboard, but actually that's a etheric marker. Miss Kyle writes the word on the board so that Billy can imbue that sigil with the meaning of chrysanthemum. Little Billy has to imbue it. And if little Billy isn't paying attention, if little Billy's staring out the window, if he doesn't care, he will not imbue that. Now, Miss Kyle can say, little Billy, what did I just say? And he could say chrysanthemum. But there's been no imbuing. He's regurgitating. What he's doing is saying, here's what is around me in the environment, not here's what's inside of me. This is the crucial point. This is why Owen is so butthurt. This is the crucial point. Regurgitated morality is not morality, ladies and gentlemen. Morality is pulled from the salt when life pounces on you from the trees. And your choice, your factory, is going to determine and generate a certain degree of morality to that situation. That morality is going to be motivated primarily by how well you sleep at night. And when people argue with me saying morality can't come from man because then man would just be evil, you don't know how the brain works. You don't know how the adrenals work. You don't know that I can hook two people up to a functional MRI and I can expose one person to horrible images and the other one will feel like shit. Not only will they feel like shit, they will start to show sympathetic symptoms, side effects, to reflect the other person's pain. And when you trust the human body, you trust immersion. You trust that the world's most moral man is the man that is deeply seated in his pelvis as his throne, his skull as his crown, his fingers as his scepters, and his toes as his foundation. Because a man that is fully seated, a man that is not evacuated, has no choice but to listen to their instruments. Your adrenals are instruments. Your endocrine system is an instrument. All of your senses are instruments, and they're measuring your morality factor. Now, most of us spend our entire life with how well do I sleep at night. That's the extent of our morality. We are the retarded. If dinosaurs were real, we are the retarded T-Rex that can't quite reach its hands any further. It's like, I'm going to get that microphone. I'm going to get it. And that's the extent that you find yourself in this Philistine idea that there's one morality, that there's one Zion, that there's one truth, that there's one universal. And some of us have sprung elbows. Some of us have elbows now, which means our morality has 3 axes, right? 1, 2, 3. We have 3 axes. And that makes our quest for morality that much more caloric. And some of us have traversed that morality sphere so long that we're no longer concerned with how well we sleep at night. We're now concerned with how well you sleep at night too. And that requires an aperture with an elbow, doesn't it? You need an elbow to feel that way. And so you find yourself abandoning the Platonic hypothetical realm. The etheric realm, by the way. Rudolf Steiner, one of the century's greatest thinkers, suggests that speech, language, and reason themselves are Luciferian. That to put yourself in the etheric that much to where you believe in hypothetical more than you believe in the physical is the height of Luciferianism, because it's to say an ideal that I have inside me is more real than the universe around me. And so as I traverse through the slings and arrows of flying monkey bears, flinging poop, as I traverse the slings and arrows of people who are afraid to share my work, I keep finding myself realizing slowly but surely that the inversion goes so deep that it even infects our own morality, our own system that we have in place, where we're asking the zeitgeist to tell us what's good, what's bad. The only minority that ever existed and will ever exist is you. You're the only minority that ever exists. You are the smallest minority. You are the most precious minority. You are the most important. And to suggest to that tribe of one that they are not responsible for their actions, that their morality needs to come from a nation outside of themselves, is to abandon yourself to a satanic machine. And so the very person that they're accusing to be Luciferian or what satanic or whatever it is the very person that's demanding that your tribe of one be the height of your civilization, that you are the most qualified arbiter of morality that's ever existed. And if you believed that, then the blueprint of mind control would bounce off you like a ping pong ball against a brick wall. The first hook in the blueprints of mind control is to convince the target that they are broken, James, you do not have morality inside you. You do not generate morality. If you were to do that, you would be nothing but evil because you are broken, James. Your bones, your moral compass, those are broken. The evil part is that inside you, James. And that's why you need morality to come from outside you. That's step one of the blueprints of mind control. And Owen Benjamin is doing that right now. Convince target they are broken. Step two is crucial. The solution is external to its victim. James, you are not capable of harnessing or wielding your own morality. It must only come from outside you. And as long as you're under the impression that it comes from inside you, you are lost, broken, and I must rebuke you, smite you, what do you call that? Exile you, whatever, right? That's the second blueprint of mind control. And that exact same system, before I say that, there's the third. What's the third? Harvest victim. That's the third. Harvest from the victim. Let's burn the herbalist, but let's not do it in private. Let's do it in public. Let's do it on Friday afternoon. Let's use that as a trauma bonding ceremony for everyone around them. Let's instill the belief that not only are there witches, but every one of you are going to get trauma programmed by participating in their murder. And you're going to watch it because it's out in the open now. You're going to watch that happen. And you're going to have to justify it. You're going to have to justify it to each other. You're going to persecute someone that's an herbalist, and you're going to justify it to each other. And that truly turns you. The blueprint of mind control, once you get to that third step, it turns you. Now you have a motor. Now you have a mind control motor operating within a species, within a group. And you can use that to go anywhere. The blueprint of mind control is religion. You are inherently a broken sinner who owes your life, owes a life debt to someone else who was murdered on your behalf because of how bad you were before you got here. That's a blueprint from mind control and religion. When I went to college, I found out I was a racist. I found out I was a sexist. I found out I was a xenophobe. Those are all three blueprints of mind control. James, you're broken because you're racist, right? James, you can't see your own racism. It's external to you. It's so bad. James, the only way that you can become less racist is you need to service the cult. You need to tell other people they're racist. You need to recruit others into this cult. Sexism, same way. Xenophobia, same way. What is germ theory? There is an evil virus inside you. And that virus, even though it is naturally created inside your cells, it is here to kill you and anyone else. And if you do nothing about it, others will suffer in your name. That's step one. Target is broken. Step two. Solution is outside of target. You cannot heal this yourself. Your body does not have the ability to heal this, to fix this evil that I've told you is inside you in step one. The solution must come externally. It must come through an aluminum injection infused with an antibody to fight this apparent pathogen inside you. And you must take it intramuscularly, and you need 72 of them. Step 3, harvest victim. You will shame anyone else who does not wear a mask. You will not participate in society with psychopaths who will not cover their face or take a vaccine. Blueprint of mind control. What is Zionism? Anyone but Christianity is evil. Anyone but Islam is evil. Anyone but Judaism is evil. That's Zionism. It's germ theory. And the only way we can save that is to crusade them, to save them, to help them, to liberate them. And that's That's germ theory, but spiritually. So the blueprint of mind control is always there, and it always has those exact same things. And germ theory is no different. It's no different. There's nothing different about it. And all of us are arguing because we want the truth. We want to find out the truth. And people like Andy Kaufman come along and say, hey, there's this thing, it's an exosome. This picture looks like an exosome. And we break through the mind control because we start to consider, maybe step one is invalid. Maybe I'm not broken. Maybe I don't have this evil inside me. Maybe that's not it. And we begin to see the light. Maybe I'm not sexist. Maybe I'm not racist. Maybe I'm not xenophobic. Maybe I'm not a slave to Luciferian pedophile. Maybe. And we start to question these things. Maybe chemtrails aren't real. Maybe my belief that chemtrails is real is just as dangerous to me as I consider that if I believe that there are cancer-causing agents all around me, no matter what, and whatever I breathe in is going to cause them, maybe that belief itself is enough to make me sick. Maybe Koch's postulates, which can never truly prove germ theory, are showing you what my book, The Technology of Belief's been screaming for day one, that your belief in something is the contagion. And that as long as you believe in that idea, as long as you believe in that tenet, you become prone. And I know this works in other things. We know it works in racism. We know it works in xenophobia. We know it works in sexism. We know it works in Zionism. Holy fuck, we know it works there. And we will physically do harm to other people to follow our blueprint of mind control. And how would Miss Kyle even help little Billy right now? Because little Billy is in a system that's teaching him regurgitation. We think that little Billy's there to learn about world history. But little Billy's there to learn about regurgitation. He's there to have quizzes pounce from the trees and see if he can regurgitate fast enough within a certain framework. And it's a blessing that Miss Kyle's there. I would say that Miss Kyle would have to be an exception. I only say that because the system itself does this. I can look in the military and I can see that most everyone in the Navy, for example, didn't really give a shit that we were killing whales with our sonar. Most people in Iraq didn't really give a shit that by setting fire to the oil fields, they weren't actually helping Iraq at all. That actually being there itself maybe wasn't the best thing. Because these people are locked in procedure because they're following their blueprint of mind control. They believe that they are broken. They believe that they are inherently incapable of making those kind of moral decisions. And so they curse people that claim, no, morality's inside me. They curse people for doing that. And I want to ask you something. Who would you trust more to not burn down your village? Someone like me who feels like my moral compass is inside me and that I am the manufacturer of things that are both good and evil? Or someone who instead believes, I am good. I am so good. I am good because I've evacuated my morality and I follow orders and I am obedient. I am obedient to the logos, which means I am good. Who do you think is going to burn down that field when told to do so? Who do you think is going to burn down the herbalist? Who do you think is going to throw witches on the stake? Who do you think is going to hit the crusades? Who do you think is going to murder every pagan they can find under a symbol they saw in the clouds? Who do you think is going to cut off their own child's blossom? Someone who has morality inside themselves? Or someone who has morality outside themselves? And I'm not here to tell you, because I don't care if you have elbows or not. You know what I mean? If you have elbows or not, I don't care. Because I'm not the kind of person that thinks some of you are moral and some of you aren't. All I see is a spectrum of retardation in all of us, me included. There's a spectrum of retardation. So none of us are better or worse. You're not better because you're less retarded. You're not. And it takes an aperturist to see that. You have to be an aperturist. What is an aperturist? Someone who understands what aperture is. Someone who understands that consciousness itself has an aperture. And that when I go on Twitter and someone tells me, you're just mad because bears don't like you anymore. All I see is a retarded T-Rex going, I'm moral because I'm defending my clan. I understand that. There's compassion in that. There's compassion in that. Guys, we are stranded in, not stranded, fuck that. We are in the wilderness. And most of us do not have a strong tribe of one, so we end up linking with each other. And when we link with each other, we build brethrenship. I linked with Benjamin Balderson. I formed a brethrenship with him, a bond. It's why I got so upset when he wouldn't call me, when he wasn't returning my calls, when he wasn't communicating with me. I got upset because I have a membrane. I opened that membrane and formed a tribe. And I am always been a tribe of one. I think that's why you guys watch me. And that's why I was able to smell long before I got to Murder Mountain what was happening. I got to see it and go, this is fucked. This is not going to work out. He and I have different goals here, that's all. And I'm not here to tell him his goal is immoral. That's fucked up. That's Benjamin's land. What he does with it is completely moral. I hope that he immerses himself and keeps himself exactly where he needs to be, which is where he's always been. He's inside of himself. He's inside his cockpit, and he's navigating to the best of his ability. And even though he's a shit poor communicator with me personally, that doesn't make him a shit person. I think it makes him a good person. I think his struggle to communicate with me is a sign of how much he loves me as a brother. That's why I'm not like, you're at fault. I'm not at fault. I have one complaint. And even that I don't call fault, because I'm calling it a sign of love. And I don't have to burn anything in effigy, do I? I don't have to swindle around and create a subgroup so we can have this sub-tribe, so we can figure out who we're going to hate and who we're not going to hate. I don't need to do that, because I'm a tribe of one. And I find holes in myself all the time. I find holes in my field all the time. And that's, thank God. Why do I find them? Because I'm in touch with my emotions. I know my emotions are an instrument. They're not here to fool me. They're here to inform me. And so I have to sink deeper into those emotions and feel the ones I don't like. I've been struggling deeply with, I feel like I'm a shitty son because of what happened this weekend with my mom. What I mean by that is that I had to hold a mask up like this far to my face while I hugged her because I wanted to hug my mom. I didn't have to. I wanted to hug my mom, and it was great. I love hugging my mom. I love it. But what I'm struggling with is that whole weekend, my mom, my dad, my brother, my stepdad, just so you guys are wondering what that means, if you read my book. I lost my dad in the Vietnam War, but I have a stepdad. There are certain topics that they're not going to talk about to me. There's superficial police line tape that separates me from my own family. And they love me. They love me behind the tape. And they're not punishing me, but they're withholding from me because they can't agree. They can't see the aperture that I have here. And that's not a sign that they're bad. It's not a sign that I'm bad. And it takes a strong ego to see that. And if anything, I feel like shit because I'm like, if I wasn't so far out in with this stuff, with what we talk about, if I wasn't so committed to it, I would have a better relationship right now with my mom. We could talk about more things. If I still believed in NASA, right? If I still believed in Babylon, I could sit with her and enjoy Good Morning America, not mine. We could have a conversation about Oprah without me cringing. And none of those matter. None of those mean shit. I don't need those things to connect with my mom. But my mom is immersed in Babylon. Her tribe of one doesn't have the same sort of tutelage that mine does. And neither one of those are right or wrong. It's not right. You guys don't even understand. It's not even more right or more less. Or like what I mean is that sounds confusing. What I mean is that I don't have more truth than my mom. I know it seems like that. I know that we think that that's the way it works. But that's not the way it works. That's Zionism. There's a blueprint for mind control, and one of those blueprints is scarcity. Zionism is the idea of scarcity because it tells you there's only one Lord, there's only one God, there's only one way, there's only one path, there's only one. And when you start to try and find that, you start to realize that the only way any of us are going to get in there is by conforming our aperture. And that's antithetical to who I am. I would have to shed my tribe of one to do that. And I believe in a God that is so fractal that the eye of the needle that all of us must pass through is different for each of us. And that eye of the needle is going to be money for some, but something totally different for another. Because it's the resolve itself that gets us through. We keep thinking that everything's a noun. We keep turning everything into noun. And it's not. Everything's a verb. Everything. And until you understand that, you'll never hear me when I tell you that evil is as real as a weed. That it's a word, it's a label, it's an adjective, it's not a noun. And the more you believe, not only is it not a noun, it's a shitty adjective. It's a shitty, lazy adjective for compassionarians who are retarded. Because you're not willing or able to see their aperture. And as long as you're not willing or able to see their aperture, you will never have compassion, which means you yourself are the same evil that you're claiming everyone else is. And so we lose people. We lose people in this dojo. This white belt is sheep, right? This is where sheep is. So that's where most of us are, right? Hence the white, it's sheep. And yellow is fear, isn't it? Truly, yellow is fear. What do I mean by that? A sheep doesn't fear the system. A yellow belt does. A yellow belt's like, wait a minute. There's panthers in this wilderness, right? And people like us are like, yeah. Yeah, and they're like, holy shit, there's panthers? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, and they've been here the whole time. We're like, yeah. The whole time. And they master their yellow belt because they are in touch with their fear. Sheep are not in touch with their fear. So this is not a mastery. You're not mastering yourself as a sheep, are you? A white belt means this is what I'm working on. A white belt means I am a sheep. I am learning to be the best sheep I can. And a yellow belt is fear. And you are learning to fear the system as best you can. Because by fearing it, you now understand it's dangerous. It requires fear to understand its danger. And that is beautiful realization, my friends. The yellow belt is here to help you. It is a gift of ball. That fear you feel is a gift of ball. So we need Pizzagate. We need Hillary Clinton peeling off the face of a child and eating it. We need the human trafficking industry itself to launch a war against pedophilia. We need stories like James Alefantis. We need Alex Jones. We need all those to invigorate and bellow our fear, to give it juice. We need that. And we want that. And James True has been telling you guys, you don't need your fear. You don't need your fear. You don't. But I'm too far up the belts. And a lot of you can't see it, so you freak out. And you start calling me names. And that's fine. It's no problem. There's a reason why I don't have a yellow belt anymore. And part of that reasoning is I've learned to deal with the yellow belts. I can spar with them. My sparring is aperture. Oh, I can open my aperture and go, oh, I can see a yellow belt, how you'd see the world this way. And so I can kick the shit out of them. Like sparringly wise, you know what I mean? They don't have the aperture for me. All they have is the aperture for is what? Fear. They are mastering their fear, which means they're going to go around demonizing every fucking thing they can find. Everything. Everything. That's where Owen Benjamin is. That's where a lot of people are. This isn't about him. That's where a lot of people are. They're mastering their fear right now. Richie from Boston, yellow belt. Anyone pushing Luciferian pedophilism, Pizzagate, QAnon, yellow belt. Yellow belt. Anyone who first sees Building 7, the very first time, yellow belt. Yellow belt, yellow belt, yellow belt. All of them. And it's great. We need yellow belts. We need yellow belts because we're tired of fucking sheep. We're tired of it. We need yellow belts. And so we put these clues out. We put these clues out right in fucking front of the mini mall where the dojo is. We put giant clues out because we want yellow belts. We got a giant sign that says now recruiting yellow belts. We do it like this.
So what do you think of my Trump Home mattress collection by Serta? Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to room 9.
Looking good, number 9, looking good.
Where's your dignity?
See that 9/11? Right there on the Serta commercial in 2002, 9/11. Sheep. Chomp giving thumbs up. Looking good. He's for 9/11. He's for 9/11. Now that is Trump inside a wacky inflatable arm costume in front of the dojo, bringing people in because we need more belts. We need more belts. And we don't care if you're new to this because we have a training program for you. We will take yellow belts. We're fine. We will take them. And as you move up the yellow belt, you need more anger. You need more seething. Because that is liquid energy. That is jet fuel. And you need that jet fuel to increase. Because you need more energy. You're going to need more energy out of that. So you start to build anger. You start to work your way up. And your fear transmutes into anger, the most important thing ever. That's what the orange belt's all about, right? The transmutation of fear into anger. You're learning how to keep your fear, but also start to practice your anger. And you're transmuting your ignorance, the sheep, into fear, and eventually into anger. And you are doing well. The more angry you get, the more well you're getting. That anger is your liberation. It's providing you the power. It's a capacitor. And you're like, what bad? Now your capacitor builds up and now you have enough energy to do something about it. But you have to act. And the entire time Babylon's telling you, oh, anger's bad. You shouldn't be so upset. Why are you having an argument on Twitter, James? That's just really concerning. And you get a lot of shit like that. But you know how important it is so you keep pushing. Because you're in the dojo. You're not a victim. You're in the dojo. You probably still think you're a victim right now. Especially at Red Belt. You are still a victim. All your power is coming from your victimhood at Red Belt. And that is Mossad, isn't it? That's Mossad. That's Zionism. That's the deepest Kabbalistic cults you read about. That's what the Red Belt is. And it's important. That's Adam Green from No More News. That's Red Belt. And it's crucial. Because you need that power, you need that vortex, you need that bellow to pull you up. And what comes next after Red Belt? Holy shit. It's green. It's green. And my friends, this channel loves the heart. We love it so much that we had to fix the word ego to even love the heart enough. That we had to repair that word before we could even talk about the heart. Because the heart, if it doesn't have the ego, it's not going to be able to transmute that anger. That anger is so powerful that it needs 4 chambers. You guys realize that hemoglobin has 4 chambers, right? The blood cells inside of hemoglobin has 4 chambers. And your heart has 4 chambers. And both times, they're transmutational butterfly. It's a womb. And the more oxygen that the hemoglobin collects, the easier it is for oxygen to link to it. And it's all done by the way it's folding. Its wings fold. When it's empty, it's like it's expressed and it's out. And it's like, I know it's hard to cling to, but if just one of you oxygens wants to hit me, I accept you. And boom, and it does. And it's like, so now it's got this different shape. And so now 2 more oxygens can hit. Now it's on their shoulders. And it keeps building and building and building. It's a verb. A red blood cell is never a noun. It's always a verb. And the heart itself is the key to transmuting that anger into something different. Something different that we don't even know what it is yet because we're on green belt. And so after the anger, you're starting to look at things through compassion. You're starting to look at things through the heart. And you see a photo of Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, and Larry Silverstein. And they're all holding each other. They got arms around each other. And if you're pro-Q, then you're like, well, wait a minute. If Trump's Q and everything's great, why would Jared Kushner put his wife between him and Larry Silverstein? Like, if Larry Silverstein is this elite Luciferian evil dude, why would they even be embracing each other? And then we start to say, oh, it's because they're all Luciferians, which is fine. That's fine. They're all evil Luciferian fine. But now that throws Q out. All of Q's gone now, which is fine. It's fine. I threw all that out too. But I got good at my green belt. And I couldn't see a world where those people would want to do that and sleep at night. I couldn't process how they would feel good and be able to smile about that. Their smiles look too genuine. The way they raise their children. The way they speak to each other. George Bush and Michelle Obama embrace each other. They're all friends. And I know we saw the funeral where Trump pretends to be mad at everyone else. He's mad at Hillary, rah, rah, rah. But you know that's wrestling. You know that because Trump told you before he even got there. Hey, y'all, I'm a wrestler. Not only am I a wrestler, but I got no problem with this.
So what do you think of my Trump home mattress collection by Serta?
Right? So now you can stay your red belt and say everyone is evil. Everyone. And all they want to do is enslave us. You can say that. But then you look at Building 7. And if you're truly a green belt, you have to apply compassion. So you're like, why the fuck would they give that away? Why would that happen? Why would a building that could hold tens of thousands of more people, why would it claim to only lost that many lives? It's a lot of lives. Don't fucking misread me. But the truth is that none of us can find proof that anyone actually died in those towers. And I know that's freaking you guys out. And if you look at Building 7, you see a controlled demolition that was purposely shown to you. Purposely. It was given away. And if you truly see this world as an elite realm of blackmail pedophilia that are all out to enslave and destroy us, you would have to ask yourself, why would they give away the most important ritual they've ever done? And why did we not go full mental? Yes, we went mental. We ourselves, as people, as population, we demanded that we get more mental. We demanded that we build a fort. We demanded that we build a wall. But if these people truly wanted to enslave us, why are we not enslaved? But we are enslaved. No, we're not. Our minds are not enslaved. Our ideas are not enslaved. I can go out and raise a child right now as a free man of the soil. I can do that. It's hard. I will give you that. It's hard. But guys, before civilization, it was hard. Before civilization, people were knocking on doors in the winter saying, I don't got no shoes. I will enslave myself to you and live in your fucking barn if you will give me shoes. It's always been hard. Babylon has always been here to make it easier, not harder for you. And by making it easier, you enslave yourself to it, and your belt slowly loses its color. Now, if you're a compassionarian, you are greenbelt now. You are past your anger. You are looking at evidence instead. And you're looking at Illuminati. You're looking at a city on a hill. You're looking at 1,000 points of light. You're considering my live stream on Lucifer's Oil. You're considering what King James did. You're considering the blueprint of mind control, and you're applying it. You're applying it like any zetetic should. You're not relying on me. You're applying it yourself. And there's so much about 9/11 that can be unlocked from Greenbelt. You can look at Prometheus, the statue of Prometheus itself in Rockefeller Center. You can look at the Kushner trade, the 666, Fifth Avenue. You can look at all that stuff. And you can see that there is a grand dilation happening in real time. And the person being dilated is you. You are being dilated in real time by people that want you to see them. They want you to see that truth. And if you need to call them an enemy while you do it, fine. But when you start to unpeel their motivations, you'll never, ever, ever see the full spectrum of what's going on. Because you're living in this realm of good and evil. You need to watch yesterday's stream if you still think that being good is better than being real. Because being good is a fantasy. Being good is lying to yourself. Being good requires you to find evil. Being good requires you to be a victim in today's world. Because when you victimize yourself, you get to feel good. And what we have is a desire to feel good because we lost our tribe of one. We abandoned ourselves a long time ago because we needed shoes. And we saw an easier way and we took it. And that's what we do. It's why we're here on Dojo Earth, is to learn how to stop taking that. Amu-Ra-Ka. In the earliest 16th century, when they first walked ashore of what is now Colombia, the Spanish were informed by their Indian hosts that they had appeared in the land of Amu-Ra-Ka, bearing the royal title Serpent. Amu-Ra-Ka, they said, was a bearded white man not unlike the conquistadors themselves. Wait, I can't read and show you that. Oh! He had long ago arrived after a terrible flood out at sea forced him and his followers to seek refuge. He afterwards taught the natives the benefits of agriculture, medicine, and religion, then built the first of several stone cities. Amu-Ra-Ka's resemblance to the plumed serpent, known by the identical name of the northern Mayans and Aztecs, means that the same set of old world culture bearers arrived through the Americas. It goes on to tell you that Amerigo Vespucci did not, in fact, discover or name America. And as I've said over and over, Columbus did not discover America, he erased it. Amu-Ra-Ka, Mu, is Lemuria, Atlantis, the lost civilization. Ra, the sun god, not just the sun god, the aspect of the god at high noon, the aspect of pure light at high noon, the pale horse. Amu-Ra-Ka is the lost continent and a shining light and probably the most freakiest thing that you've ever heard me say, is that almost every Native American culture celebrates the rising morning star, the Muraka, and that the Illuminati, the city on the hill, Benjamin Franklin's dream of a new world, of philosopher kings that need no laws, need no credentials to govern themselves, is Amu-Ra-Ka. And that as we realize who Mu is, as we remember who Mu is, and keep in mind that I think actually I've got the slide. Keep in mind, okay, let me get to, that's DeSoto's plot through Amu-Ra-Ka. Note how long DeSoto explored. He didn't explore, he lived here for 4 years. This is not the path of someone who's looking at new land. This is the path who's visiting mound city after mound city after mound city and immersing himself in a culture that was already there. Amu-Ra-Ka, the plumed serpent. Astana 2013, there's a serpent. Astana 2018, that serpent's been flooded with water to form a bird. Plumed. It plumed. The serpent was plumed in water. Astana. That's Kazakhstan, by the way. The plumed serpent. Mu. Geologists dismiss the existence of Mu and the lost continent of Atlantis as physically impossible, arguing that a continent can neither sink nor be destroyed in a short period of time. And there's the clue. Because no, you cannot lose a continent in that short of a period of time, and there'd be no geological evidence. But you could forget. You could forget. You could forget that it exists. And I'm here to tell you one theory, just one, from my tribal one to your tribal one. Dojo Earth is this realm that we live in, inside the ice wall that we think is a ball. And the reason why we lost Atlantis is because we forgot. We forgot that Atlantis is made up of rings. There's a central circle, the heart of Atlantis, where the seas do not disturb, where it's a controlled environment, where all the food's there, everything's self-sustaining. And as you travel outside, you discover the rings. Atlantis was not destroyed, it was forgotten. It was deluged. Not destroyed, deluged. Reset. Formatted. Erased. Amnesia. And the cycle starts anew. And so, the way to find Atlantis is to remember. That's the way to Atlantis, is to remember. That's how we get there. And we need the vision to see that. We need the skills, we need the discernment, we need the extrasensory perception to even get there. Because now we need to be guided by light that you can't even see. It's a special kind of light. It's a light that comes inside yourself. It's an illumination inside yourself. And by illuminating that, all the salt inside your body is going to remember Mu. It's going to remember Atlantis. And that is Ajna. Sorry, I screwed up my monitor here. There. That is Ajna. And that's where we're going. Ajna. The third eye. Guys, all of this is about the eye. All of it. And it's funny because that's the one thing that everyone's freaked out about. That's the one thing no one can talk about. Illuminati confirmed. Illuminati confirmed. And until we stop fearing this stuff, we don't get to talk about it. until we stop freaking out about Lucifer, we don't get to talk about it. If you want to have an evil boogeyman, call him Noctifer. Use the right word. Call him the darkness bringer, the Noctifer. Call him that. Put up effigies, burn him, put them on t-shirts, burn those. Burn more books. Burn more bricks. Explain how morality insists that you burn Noctifer. Do it. But stop burning your own potential. Stop claiming that you illuminating yourself is evil. Stop being a bitch. Stop being a victim. Stop falling for the germ theory. Because we need you. We need morality. We need morality in this world. Yesterday, I was driving up the mountain. And it's a pretty busy road where I drive up the mountain anyway. It's called the Parkway. I came around the corner, and right in the middle of my lane was this little guy. This cute little raccoon. So cute. This little guy. I'm going to call him a tween. He's not an infant. He's not an adult. He's a tween. And I didn't even have to get out of the car. I was able to pull up right alongside him, open the door as I was driving, and literally just scoop him up. And I had a box right on the seat. I put him in the box because he was crawling away. And also, a lot of people don't know this, but animals are scared. And people think that, oh, well, we should look at him. We should give him some food. We should talk to him. We should tell him it's okay. And really, if you're finding a wild animal, you should stop doing all that. The best thing for that raccoon was never to see me. And I wanted to see that raccoon. He said, look how cute he is. Look how cute he is. You think I didn't want to see him? You think I didn't want to open the box and give him a bath and put a little bow tie on him and show him how the Apple TV works? Of course I did, but I couldn't because I owed him a duty. Because I'm a factory of morality. And some of you have done this, and it's okay. It's okay because you're on a different belt than I am. That's all. When it comes to wildlife rescue, that's all. I've done this enough. I've rescued, and I've been doing this for about 10, 15 years. And by the way, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm not the expert either, but I know that if I want that raccoon to go, I don't want him to acclimate to humans. I don't want him taking food out of my hands. I don't want him liking humans in any way. I want him terrified of me just like he is. And the best way I can keep that, the best way I can keep his aversion to humans, and the best way I can make him calm is to keep him in that box. That him not seeing me is actually helping him. Because you have to understand how an animal's brain works. You're an animal. You have to understand how your brain works. The more sensory perception you have coming into your head, the more stress, the more cortisol, the more freaked out you're going to be when you're having trauma. That raccoon was having trauma. I keep him in a box. I eliminate the amount of trauma that's coming into his eyes. It's coming into his senses. And I post this on social media because I don't like how the wildlife rehab works right now. You see, in my county, the health department believes that raccoons need to be euthanized. If they're captured, they need to be euthanized. And they say it's a rabies vector. They claim this is a rabies vector animal and it has to be euthanized. And they want the same for fox. They want the same for groundhog. They want the same for skunk. They would want the same for bats, but bats are protected. And so I posted on Facebook, I was like, guys, I want you to know that if you just call your regular wildlife rehabilitator, depending on where you live, you might be killing that raccoon. And I'm telling people this because I want them to see my morality. I want them to see where my morality is. My morality is not in going to the public governmental authorities and asking them to come out here and shoot an animal. That to me is not moral. That's an immoral decision. And I don't care how many bears or how many community members or how many fans or how many taxpayers disagree. That's not going to change my morality. My morality is based zetetically. When I empathize with how I sleep at night and how something else sleeps at night. That raccoon would not sleep at night. I cannot raise a raccoon. I don't want to raise a raccoon. I want that raccoon to be as it was before I found it. I don't want it to be my sidekick. I don't want it to be any kind of magnet. I want people to understand this is what you're supposed to do, that you're a stewardship. You are the land. You are the land. Which means you literally are that raccoon. And we don't understand this yet. And while I'm pasting this on Facebook, I'm getting most of the comments are great. But I start to get seeded with more bullshit, with more propaganda. And people say, well, rabies isn't real. And Andy Kaufman proved that rabies, and Andy Kaufman didn't prove anything about rabies. Andy Kaufman showed you that viruses might be exosomes. And by you telling other people that Andy Kaufman says that rabies isn't real, you don't understand what's happening. Because I've watched a raccoon suffer from what we call rabies. It's a brain asphyxiation. I had a raccoon climb a tree over here. He came across the road. I could see him. I was up here working. I saw him from like 50 yards away. And I saw him. And I knew in the middle of the day, something's not right. This raccoon's not right. And I get out there. And by the time I got out there, he had climbed a tree. And you could hear him suffering. You could hear that. I'm not going to go into detail, but he was suffering. And that's a real life sickness. It's not made up. It's not propaganda. And just like you can't fall for shit that makes you think you're evil, you can't fall for shit that makes you think everything's good. Guys, Andy is a clinical psychologist. He knows shit about veterinary medicine. And that's not an insult. I've asked him. Andy thinks that dogs have pores, like humans do. He thinks dogs sweat. He doesn't know animals. And when I tell you that this has rabies, I'm talking about the disease itself has rabies. If you want to dispute that viruses are real, stop being an ass. Realize that real things are happening. That there are real conditions that are happening right now. And that asphyxiation is real. And for me to tell everyone to quarantine that raccoon, if you do find a raccoon, the most important thing you could do is not touch it, not mess with it, not fuck with it, and quarantine it. Because if it happened to have a very, 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 very rare disease, there's no way it'll be alive in 2 days. There's no way. It will not be alive if it's suffering from rabies. And that's a nice general rule as a wildlife rehabber that you can have and keep. But I can't tell you that because I'm overrun with a bunch of people that insist that Andy Kaufman told them rabies isn't real, therefore it's not true. And that's fucking bullshit. Exosomes is an excellent theory. And viruses are real. Stop saying viruses aren't real. Viruses are real. But we do not know, nor do we have proof if they're deadly. But we do know they're real. So stop saying viruses aren't real. And rabies is not even a virus. Anyway. Be a tribe of one. Stop blindly listening to things that either scare the shit out of you or give you a universal green card to do whatever the fuck you want. Neither one of them's right. If you want to know what's right, imagine yourself outside in the winter with no shoes, and you're looking at a warm house, and you're about to sell yourself into a 7-year contract because you want shoes. That is what it feels like to be faced with the decision of Babylon or no Babylon, of evacuating yourself to someone else's ideas, or using your own discernment. And the hardest thing you could do is not go to that house and knock on that door. That's the hardest thing you could do. That winter will be hard. You might lose a toe or two. You may not make it. But if you do, that next winter, you will have more than shoes. You will have more than socks. You will have the wherewithal to be a tribe of one. And stop blindly listening. Stop. Andy gave you a good theory to think about regarding exosomes. Don't listen to him about dog care. Don't listen to him about rabies. Don't listen to him about stuff he already said he doesn't know. I applaud him for telling me I don't know shit about rabies, James. Stop giving everyone else all of your discernment. Because you're going to fuck up. They're going to fuck up. I'm going to fuck up. I told someone this morning that it was Jamestown was the lost civilization. Sam's like, James, that's Roanoke. I was like, oh shit, you're right, it's Roanoke. Upset your tribe. Tell them they're wrong. You will find out who your true tribe is by seeing how well they handle you telling them they're wrong. It will happen. Miss Kyle, thank you. Thank you. I've been ignoring chat, and I'm sorry, guys. That's rude as hell. Raccoonanati, that's right. Yes, Crowbear, virus, exactly. Viruses are misdescribed, not fake altogether. And that is truly where we're at right now. And thank God Andy brought that up. Thank God Andy, what Andy did, Andy gave you a gift. He exposed to you Koch's postulates. He exposed to Koch's postulates. Sorry, guys. Koch. He exposed to you that the postulates themselves for what makes a virus aren't even true. Andy never said viruses aren't real. All right? You have to spend more calories. You can't be that lazy and walk around just saying shit like that. And you can't do that when someone like me has watched a raccoon suffer. I stayed under that tree for hours. Just listening to that raccoon up there. It's awful. It's awful. And you know how sick it is to wait for a raccoon so you can kill it? You're under there going, God, I wish that raccoon would come down so I could kill it. Ugh. And the whole time while I'm doing these wildlife rescue for over 10 years, the things I've had to do, the things I've seen, the things I've encountered doing this kind of stuff. And to have people tell me how cruel I am for keeping a raccoon in a box. Or how cruel I am for feeding it a chicken nugget. And if anyone's going to call me cruel, it wasn't a fucking McDonald's chicken nugget. There's a hot bar at the grocery store. They serve sweet and sour chicken there. They have a discount. And I bought it. And I'm not giving it sweet and sour sauce, so don't go there either. All right? That's the best way to find out if this raccoon is rabid. You're going to see, does he have an appetite at all? Does he even have one? How does he even respond to this? And you don't give it to him by his hand. You don't serve it on a plate and go, this is from a human. You don't do that. You need him in a box so he can't see you. You are the land. You speak for this guy. This guy right there. You are his keeper. You are. And there's higher ways to love. You don't always have to cuddle something to love it. It's humanity love, right? Most of us aren't there at that level yet. Most of us don't see that yet. And yes, dogs do have sweat glands in their paws. They also have it on their anus. And of course their tongue and their nose. But dogs do not, when you're telling someone, if you shave that dog, it won't be hot, you're talking to an idiot. You're talking to someone that doesn't understand what sweat glands are and how they work. That's all I'm saying. In fact, wolves are crucial. Their sweat glands are crucial. They would not be able to communicate with each other over hundreds of miles if it was not for their sweat glands. We are humans. We live in sight. Humans, we live in sight. We're almost primarily sight-oriented. Yes, there's a direct input through the nose. Our olfactory goes straight into your limbic system, but we are primarily sight. And dogs aren't. They're more limbic. That's why they're such good companions. Let's see here. It's all good, James. I worked for the SPCA for years, rescued many animals. Most people have no clue about how to treat wild animals or rescue animals. The thing I saw told me that. Yes, Dreamchild76. And thank you for doing that. That's one of the hardest jobs there is. You guys can find a wildlife rehabber by Googling it. I can't give you one website because the one website that claims to be the national one doesn't even list Carolina as a wildlife rehabber. You can find these people. You will find the ones that you know in your heart are good. You will find them. And you can link with them and you can make their allies. There's an underground raccoon railroad that I'm a part of. And honestly, I'm breaking the law by telling you this. But this is the only way to be moral. Guys, you can't even hold a feather, an eagle feather. You are too profane in Babylon's eyes to even hold a feather of an eagle, an owl, a hawk, or a raptor. You are so profane in Babylon's eyes that you are required in many places to destroy any animal for no other reason than its average blood temperature. And that's what makes it a rabies vector animal. And if you keep listening to Babylon, you will burn oil fields, you will invade a new country every 1.3 years, you will join a cult and follow everyone around insisting that everyone is gay who doesn't believe what your leader believes. You will do the cruelest things to animals, you will run them over with your car and keep going, and you will not stop. And that's not morality. That's Satanism. That's evacuating yourself to a machine. And if you think that morality doesn't come from inside you, you're evacuating yourself to a machine, a vending machine. And you put your prana in like tokens, and it spits out a candy bar and tells you it's morality. And you taste it and it tastes good. And you're like, oh, look how moral I am. It's got nougat. This morality's got nougat, is what you tell yourself, and you're all good. It's a struggle every day. Every day. It's never easy. All right, some days it's easy. Some days it just works out. You know that, flow state. That's right, forbearance. It's part of a human being's job description to be in a right relationship with animals. And you got to find that. Symbiosis, baby. Verb, not noun. Verb. Got to be a verb. Yeah, Dreamy Dude. Steiner's brilliant. I've only listened to him a bit, though. Might try some more. I would recommend that. I think Owen Benjamin would do well to even give Steiner 5 minutes of his time. I think anyone who's struggling with this idea that morality is a external Platonic realm really needs to listen to Steiner, especially his talks on Lucifer. And he's not pro-Lucifer, by the way. But he's telling you that you're evacuating yourself when you're asking someone else, will you tell me what moral is? You are the instrument of God's morality. Your body is the instrument of God's morality. And if you're going to pretend like you're not qualified to do it, you will never, ever, ever be moral. You will not be practicing what you are here to do. It may not just require a bite, CM. Rabies needs a bite like a venom. I believe that you can also probably get that through the sharing of food, honestly. Especially with raccoons. But prune my lips. You shouldn't listen to me. I think it's safer, though, because we have other raccoons. By the way, the raccoon is now gone. When I say gone, he's part of that Underground Railroad. He's now been placed in a release habitat. A release habitat is a habitat that's placed outside that gets food every day, but the door's open. So the idea is that as the animal improves, it's allowed to leave. It'll actually wander away. Sometimes it'll come back. It'll eat the food again, and eventually it'll just go. And that's what we call successes. And I do not know if this raccoon's going to make it, guys. I'm just being straight up. The reason why I don't know if it'll make it is because when you first see a raccoon, I've seen enough of these animals where I kind of have a sense of probably what's going to happen. I'm wrong all the time. But I don't even know if this is going to make it. It could be that it was abandoned because it's terminal. And I've seen that a lot. Animals know when each other is terminal. They know that. They know. A mom knows when to abandon a certain animal. It's sad, but she knows. Bye. I'm not saying that's what happened with the raccoon, but it could be. We'll find out. But that raccoon is now in that habitat. It's no longer having to be around humans. It's not hearing humans. It's not thinking humans. It's going to have a full diet. We get donations from our grocery store. The animals eat good, actually, really good. And that one will eat well. And maybe in a day or two, I will find out that that raccoon is gone, and that will be good news. And I will never see that raccoon again. That will be a success. Natural born skeptic. I'm really annoyed with you today, James. Chemtrail's not real, but rabies is. Come on. Okay, natural born skeptic. Let's review. What did I see that happened to the raccoon? The thing that everyone calls rabies, all the symptoms that it has. Brain asphyxiation, it's literal zombieism. What did I see? Did I make that shit up? Did the 8 hours I spent waiting for that raccoon to come out of the tree, was all that made up? Now, chemtrails. Have you ever seen a crop duster? Has anyone ever looked up a video of a crop duster? When dust falls out of a crop, it bounces off the ground. It goes poof. Why? Because it has to be heavy. Why does it have to be heavy? So it works. A crop duster fails at 50 feet or higher. It fails. It's not able to do it. The particulates are too light at that point. It's not able to do its job. Now you want to tell me that rabies is fake, and what I just saw with that raccoon and what I've seen with skunks is fake. But when I watch one plane fly over and stretch literally a square footage of thousands of miles, and I see one plane that has an aerosol spray coming from it, and you want me to believe that they are chemtrailing the entire atmosphere because that's real, but rabies isn't, and that raccoon was just pretending, or it was a Zionist CIA fucking shill. Because I'm here to tell you, if I wanted chemtrails to make you think that I was disseminating cancer and everyone who breathed it would then have cancer, I wouldn't need to saturate everything. I could fly one plane over every 4 days. And enough people like you who do not prune lips would believe it. And you'd freak out and you'd tell everyone else. And you'd make memes about it and you'd tell everyone else chemtrails are real. And you'd start a YouTube channel and you'd have a fucking following like Amazing Polly. And Richie from Boston would have you on and you'd freak the fuck out about how chemtrails are real and everyone's going to die of cancer. And millions of people would listen to you and they'd go home and say, we're going to die of cancer because we're breathing in the particulates right now. And those fuckers would get sick. And they get sick because they do not understand the power of the technology of belief. The technology of belief is real. That's why we talk about it every day with prana. That's why we talk about it every day. That's why we insist you have to stop fucking believing these lies unless you want to believe the prana of what comes with them. And so yes, if you're going to buy chemtrails, right now, you are getting sick. You are making yourself sick right now by believing them. And I'm telling you, I cannot find the zetetic evidence, no matter how much I fucking look, that they're real. I can't. You could show me one picture where Trump's on a plane and there's a box that's labeled chemtrails. And it's the most staged fucking thing you've ever seen. It has all the salaciousness of Pizzagate, all the salaciousness of Epstein Island. It literally has all of it. And it freaks you out and it scares you and you run around going, they're real. And all you do is make everyone else fucking sick from it. While you insist that the raccoon that's dying, that's asphyxiating like a fucking zombie in broad daylight is a myth. It's insane how easily we give away every single inch of our discernment. And I'm telling you they're fear porn because I think they are. And if you want to prune my lips, please, dear God, prune my lips. Show me some fucking evidence. But make it evidence. Don't show me how dramatic the meme is that you found. Don't show me how beautiful the video was done with the background music by Serial Brain. Fucking use your brain. If it's got a billionaire, if it's got a pedophile, if it's got a submarine, if it's got a dentist chair, if it's got pedophilia, if it's got Hollywood, if it's got a blowjob from George Clooney, if it's got nuclear weapons, if it's got Mossad, if it's got terrorism, if it's got every single fucking element that terrifies you, that titillates you, that makes you fear, maybe it's a fucking lie. That maybe the truth is boring. Maybe the truth is painful. Maybe the truth is you not having shoes in winter at night. I'm here to tell you that the reason why you get off of chemtrails is because you don't have to worry about the raccoon that's clawing at your door. Because you get to sit inside and freak out about chemtrails. Because it makes you feel better. It's something you fear that makes you feel better, not worse. There's a reason why all the horror movies are naked titty women running through the forest tripping. Oh, I fell. There's a reason why we call that horror. It's self-soothing. It's fear porn, meaning we're squirting over fear. We're not fixing it, we're squirting over it. You look it up, God himself. Make a video, show us. Give me the PDF, give me the white paper. Show us. Stop telling everyone else they need to research more until they believe it. That's what Zionists say. Well, the reason why you don't understand the Bible is because you don't read it enough. And I literally studied the fucker for 4 years in college. It was my major. And I still have to listen to people tell me, well, James doesn't actually know the Bible. It's the most insane shit I hear. It's the same shit I hear about when people say, well, rabies isn't real because someone told me. The guy who told you that doesn't even understand veterinary medicine. Stop. Stop. Guys, be a tribe of one. Smell this stuff. Don't feel it, smell it. Smell everything that comes up. It is the healthiest thing you could do right now to reject chemtrails and look for evidence. And feel the burn. Go out there and go, hey, can you prove to me chemtrails? I want to find out how they're real. Can you please prove this to me? Because all I see are videos talking about how scary they are. And fear is the only contagion that you need to learn how to amalgamate. It's the only one. Sorry for yelling. Are you going to get this? We did the dojo yesterday. It was great. We had 23 people in there. It was fantastic. We're going to do one today. I encourage you all to join the dojo. To join the dojo, all it takes is subscribing to the dojo. Basically, it's a group where we get to talk to each other. You get to figure this out. Ryan Thompson, you get to be the hero in your own movie with fake Hollywood fear. Boobs in the forest. Real fear forces you to actually do something. Exactly. I need shoes, right? I need shoes for the winter, right? It forces you to do that. Nick Gale, thanks for the super chat. I know there are more guys. I'm sorry they scrolled up too high. Let's see if I can find them. Really appreciate you guys. And the chemtrail thing, it's I bet you that it'll just here's more viewers going, because I doubted chemtrails. I want you to realize something, please. You guys are going to penalize me. Those of you who are going to penalize me, you're going to do it because I doubted something. You're going to do it because I doubted something like chemtrails. And remember, the definition of a good person right now is one who doesn't question the mask, doesn't question the virus, doesn't question the quarantine, doesn't question the government, doesn't question the taxes, the media, the drones, Israel, the schools, period. And that includes chemtrails. That includes Andy Kaufman. That includes exosomes. That includes everything you've been told, good or bad. Stop pretending that you should only question the things that you don't like. You have to question the things you do like. You have to. You have to. So why would they fake chemtrails, James? Easy. Because they want you to own your airspace again. They want you to own your airspace without dirtying it. How is an elite pedophile living in this earth going to enjoy his livelihood if the entire atmosphere is full of cancer? Are you telling me he's got a mask? Think about it. Think about it. Or don't, right? I want you to discern. I don't want you to come here for truth. I want you to come here for doubt. Your goal is doubt. Your goal is to restore mystery in your life. Your goal is to say, I love mystery. I fucking love it. Mystery is my mistress, and I want more mystery in my life, which means I'm going to doubt more shit. Do it. I dare you. Do it. Okay. We're going to do Dojo next. Those of you who are Patreon, go to Patreon. You'll see a link going there. Those of you who subscribed to the Dojo last week, I'm about to send you an email. The lovely Catherine is helping us with the JTrue website. We're almost done. Basically, you won't have to wait for the email. You'll be able to just log in, and you'll see that link there. So thank you for just waiting. It should just be like another day, I think. I think it'll work out. In fact, Catherine already solved that for me, but I haven't. There's one thing I need to do first, and we may add another feature to it. We'll see how that goes. So, Catherine, thank you so much for your help. Thank you guys for subscribing to the dojo. I think it's going to make these things easier. In fact, we talked a lot more about chemtrails yesterday because we had the dojo. Because I wasn't going to be faced with the people telling me, well, no, the wall rabies is fake. It's hard to have in-depth conversations like that when we're outside, when we're dealing with a really, really short burst, of attention. And plus, the chat isn't nearly as effective as, say, the back and forth that we have in video conference. I am looking for the link to tell you guys how to get to sorry it's taking so long. Man, I've been posting a lot. Here is the link if you want to subscribe to Dojo Earth. I would love to see you guys in there. We all would. Join us. We can talk more about this stuff. We are beginning an uncurriculum, actually. We are beginning a new uncurriculum. There's the link in DLive. Here's the link in YouTube. Please consider subscribing. We will see you guys in the dojo soon. And I'm going to end the show now. Thanks a lot for being here. Oh, the patron list was wrong yesterday. It didn't have everyone on there. I think it's right now. Shout out to C for letting me know. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I'm thankful you let me know. And it's so important that I thank all you guys. And I was trying to read the list, and somehow I read it wrong. So, patrons, thank you so much for being my patrons, especially right now, right? Especially right now.
Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above the door, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again, yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again, so sweet again. Pushing me down.